The following is a Journey into Comics Network production.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's the Podfather Nate here. You are listening to the Journey into Comics Network Best of the Week Highlights Show. This has got highlights from all shows across the network this week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Journey into Comics.
Well, not yet, because I don't know about you, Nate, but when I get up, I can't get up yet.
I feel that. Yeah, you got to stare at your phone for a second, put it back down, and sleep a little bit longer.
Oh, dude, I hit, snooze, 4 times, okay? My alarm goes off at 4. I have another alarm set for 4:40. That alarm is get my ass out of bed alarm. It's like, all right, get up. And I'll be honest with you, I let it go to that alarm a lot.
Fair enough. You got to wake up early. Fair enough.
Not Wednesday. I saw your post or your message to me, and I'm like, oh, shit, I need to get that to him. So I dart out of bed, run back here, get on the computer. Let's go, did it record wrong? What's going on? I look at it. It's all perfect. All right, put that on the Dropbox. He can get that up there really quick. And I'm like, all right, good. And I send you a message like, sorry, man, just woke up. I got that to you. And I go, sit on the shitter, open up Facebook, during the Wrestling Live. I'm like, man, that was quick. And I'm like, that son of a bitch. Oh, God damn it. I just totally, wasted my entire time, woke up, and I'm awake now because of how much I had to, use my brain and all that kind of stuff for that, that early in the morning. So, damn you, Nate, because I was like, you know what? It's only 4 o'clock, 4:30. No one's listening to this yet, really, unless you're overseas. So it's like, they can wait till 5 or 6 or 7 until they get the show and it'll sound really good. And it was a really good episode. And instead, I sound like I'm talking through a tin can the whole time.
That was unfortunate. I had to, as Podfather, make executive decisions because you have a sleep schedule and the way things kind of shook out. And I'm going to get into this. Actually, it's a beautiful segue for a lot of the craziness that's been happening within the network and things being late and stuff and whatnot. But go ahead.
Hold the segue, though, because all of my alertness could have been avoided if you would have said, don't worry, I got it.
I never sent that text because
no,
my brain went to a million other places, and that's my bad. My bad.
So I'm like darting around, dude. I'm flying through my house like Mighty Mouse.
You look kind of like Fix-It Felix Jr. just then from Wreck-It Ralph. Yeah. But no, Brando, it was kind of weird. What happened was we did the show. I had it on the board, and it was it's got to go up. We had to go to help Veronica finish moving. So it was like, okay, well, as soon as the move is done and what we can get done is done, I'll get on the Wi-Fi. I'll upload the episode. No big deal. So when I got there and got to that point, it was 10:30. And I've been striving to keep the network at a midnight launch for the new day. It's weird because we're off 6 hours anyways, and it's all super wonky how it all works. But lately we've been launching at midnight, and the listens have kind of been going up, so it's kind of good. And I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go ahead and get this edited. And I get your episode, your half of the episode. I drop it into the Audacity, and it's 27 minutes. And I'm like, oh, no. Oh, no. Hey, Dogs of Our Existence. I don't know if they'll hear that, Brando, but you're definitely hearing that. But I'm 27 minutes. What do I do? I look at the time. It's 10:37, and my first thought was, he's a fucking sleep, man. Part of me wanted to message Kate to wake you up, and I thought, nah, it's not worth it. I'll send him the message to let him know that it happened, and I'll just use the stuff when I get to the house. I got home at 1:42 in the morning and started working on that. I edited that episode, Podcastrophe, and 2 Foodies until almost 3 in the morning when I finally went to sleep. And I guess what you're telling me is if I would have waited 15 goddamn minutes, we would have actually crossed paths, and I would have been getting that information. But I was beat at that point, Brando, because it's been crazy. We've been moving Veronica out of her house, and yesterday was the last day to move shit, and there was still a substantial amount of things to be done. It was all little stuff, though. It was all in the little final minor details of things that had to get taken care of. And some stuff had to go back to our house, and some stuff's moving to her mom's house, so it's just this whole Tetris thing. I got to Lowell at 9 o'clock yesterday morning, and I start working. And I had to on my way to Lowell run to Home Depot to get a door for Dad. That's very important. And when I think door, you think, oh, it's just a little tiny fucking screen door. That's the only thing he would have me pick up. Nope, I'm talking a fucking legit crown molding door with the fucking hinges and the whole nines that you put in the front of your house. Like, it's legit. So it's fucking big, and I'm like, I have to take a load of shit I have to, like, take stuff from Veronica's house now and get it out of here. So I go, okay, I'm going to have to leave the door at her old house, take the load of shit to my house, and then come back on my way to go to Hoopston to visit Dad, because that's where I was headed last night. So long story short, I worked in Lowell from 9 a.m. until about 6:15 or 6:30. We ate a little bit of pizza together. I dipped, flew back up to Hammond to home, sat down for a brief minute, got the board on, recorded Voice of Survival 16, loaded the board back up, got myself back together, unloaded the truck, drove back to Lowell, picked the door up, got done with that, and then drove to Hoopston, where I immediately uploaded the episode. And I actually am so grateful that I survived yesterday, because I did more driving and nonstop going. Like, I was driving, Brando. Have you ever been driving in a car and you physically get to the point where your eyes make you go like, am I actually still seeing, or am I dying right now in real time? You know, because you're like, your eyes have been open for so fucking long that you're like, you can't even concentrate if your eyes are really focused or not. Have you ever had that?
Yeah. Usually it's usually when I work and then do something and then am getting home late. It's probably going to happen at the end of the month when we go to Chicago, because I work that day. Then I'm going to pretty much take off straight to your place. So it's probably going to happen that day. I'm probably going to be pretty beat by the end of the events that day. So
you feel me totally.
Absolutely, I've totally been there.
But long story short, it's all done now, and the dust is settled. The house is sold. Everything is done with it. Moving sucks, no matter how you slice it, Brando. Moving really, genuinely fucking blows.
Absolutely.
So, anyways, we got some news, man. I'm just going to throw some random shit your way. I don't really know where to start. Some of these articles you actually told me you wanted to have brought up, and I had actually already pulled them up. We'll go ahead and start with DC. We don't typically start with DC, and this is actually some pretty fucking cool news. Let's see, it would have been last Thursday, as it were. Last Thursday, because this comes out on Monday. DC announced Black Label, which is the prestigious superhero imprint. They're going to be essentially taking and giving legendary names in the industry properties. Hey, go write a Batman story. Hey, go write Superman. Hey, go write Wonder Woman. Hey, go write whatever. Because their thought is, some of the best stuff in the history of DC are those offshoots. Killing Joke, Dark Knight Returns. Think about The Watchmen. Stuff that's not in continuity, that's tied to all the shit that they're trying to sell month to month, right? And man, right out the gate, they have some amazing names tied to some interesting properties. And I want to get your thoughts right out of the gate.
Oh, dude, it's pretty cool because, as you said, you know, the whole like one-off stories and all that kind of stuff like that are, you know, dude, like those are awesome. Like Dark Knight Returns is one of my favorite books ever. So, you know, and you know, and Killing Joke is right up there too. So it's, man, the possibilities for this are nearly endless, because you could get, you know, older guys coming back in to do a story, or you could even get some of the more hotter property guys that maybe aren't tied down to a, you know, deal with anybody. It said, you know, I'm doing this, like this project for this run. Maybe you could get them to work on something that normally they wouldn't do. You know, like me personally, now this is just Brando. You know, we've seen, you know, this dude write some other DC stuff, but I don't think Kev Smith's ever done a Batman story.
Oh man, Kevin Smith on a Batman project would be I don't even know. The possibilities are genuinely endless, and then the question comes into play of like, who would he pick to draw that I know my first pick for a Kevin Smith written book, Jim Lee.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, that's a fucking out of the park home run. Everyone and their goddamn moms is lining up on the first day to buy that shit, because hell yeah.
From the suburbs of Chicago and Illinois, this is The Puhr Report with your host, Andrew Puhr.
As reported, what was notable about Sanders' statement that the arbitration was won in the president's favor is that Trump is not technically named in the non-disclosure agreement or the restraining order. Cohen used aliases for Trump and Clifford throughout the document that makes Sanders' press briefing statements the first time in the White House acknowledged the president is a party to the efforts to keep Clifford quiet. CNN reported Trump is upset with the press secretary for her remarks in the arbitration ruling. On Wednesday, Michael Avenatti, Clifford's attorney, responded to Sanders' comment on MSNBC's The Last Word. Any claim by the administration that Donald Trump won an arbitration is no different than me claiming that I won the Super Bowl a few weeks ago, he said, adding that it was nonsense and complete hooey. Clifford, who wants to go to public with her story, is contesting the legality of the confidentiality agreement. On Tuesday, she filed a civil suit against Trump, alleging the contract she signed just days before the 2016 election is invalid because it's missing Trump's signature. The suit alleges Trump purposely did not sign the agreement so he could later, if need be, publicly disavow any knowledge of the hush agreement or the affair. Clifford also confirmed details about the supposed affair with Trump. She says she began an intimate relationship with him years before his political aspirations took shape, and more than a year into his marriage to now First Lady Melania Trump. She says that it began in the summer of 2006 in Lake Tahoe, and that it lasted well into 2007. The White House and Cohen, who drafted the agreement, have repeatedly denied the alleged sexual encounter, and the complaint alleges Cohen used intimidation and coercive tactics to force Clifford into signing a false statement denying the extramarital affair with Trump. Avenatti told the New York Times earlier this week that he does not consider the emergency arbitration decision valid. Clifford intends to pursue the civil suit in open court. This should be decided publicly, he told the Times. Perhaps by publicly, Avenatti meant over the airwaves. On Wednesday afternoon, he tweeted a photo of himself, Clifford, and Anderson Cooper standing in front of what looks like a camera set. There's no message apart from the Twitter handles. Michael Avenatti, Stormy Daniels, Anderson Cooper, and 60 Minutes. So it looks like there may be a 60 Minutes interview coming featuring Stormy Daniels and Anderson Cooper. So, yeah, that's kind of the first bit of the pour for today. Just some more interesting news coming out of the White House. And I feel like if this was any other president, it would be a PR nightmare. But this just seems to be another day in the life of what is the administration of President Donald J. Trump. I guess moving on from one administration to another, the next topic for this involves former President Barack Obama and Netflix. Now, for those of you who don't know, former President Barack Obama is in advanced negotiations with Netflix to produce a series of high-profile shows that will provide him a global platform after his departure from the White House, according to the people familiar with the discussions. Under terms of a proposed deal which is not yet final, Netflix would pay Mr. Obama and his wife, Michelle, for an exclusive content that would be available only on the streaming service, which has nearly 118 million subscribers around the world. The number of episodes and the formats for the show have not been decided. Mr. Obama does not intend to use his Netflix show to directly respond to President Trump or conservative critics, according to the people familiar with discussions about the programming. They said the Obamas had talked about producing shows that highlight inspirational stories. But the Netflix deal, why not a direct answer to Fox News or Breitbart.com, which would give Mr. Obama an unfiltered method of communicating with the public similar to the audience he already reaches through social media, with 101 million Twitter followers and 55 million people who have liked his Facebook page. President and Mrs. Obama have always believed in the power of storytelling to inspire. Eric Schultz, a senior advisor to the former president, said on Thursday, throughout their lives, they have lifted up stories of people whose efforts to make a difference are quietly changing the world for the better. And they consider their future personal plans. They continue to explore new ways to help others tell and share their stories. In one possible show idea, Mr. Obama could moderate conversations on topics that dominated his presidency: healthcare, voting rights, immigration, foreign policy, climate change, and that have continued to divide a polarized American electorate during President Trump's time in office. Another program could feature Mrs. Obama on topics like nutrition that she championed in the White House. The former president and First Lady could also lend their brand and their endorsement to documentaries or fictional programming on Netflix that align with their beliefs and values. It is unclear how much money the Obamas will be paid given their lack of experience in the media business. Netflix recently signed a 5-year, $300 million deal to lure Ryan Murphy away from 21st Century Fox, but Mr. Murphy is among the television industry's most sought-after producers. The deal is evidence that Mr. Obama, who left the White House when she was just 55 years old, intends to remain engaged in the nation's civic business, even as he studiously avoided direct clashes with Mr. Trump about his concerted efforts to roll back Mr. Obama's legacy. There's also a clear indication that the former president remains interested in the intersection of politics, technology, and media. Several people familiar with the Netflix discussion said that executives from Apple and Amazon, which have their own streaming service, have also expressed interest in talking with Mr. Obama about content deals. The former president has maintained a low profile since leaving office. He and his wife are each writing highly anticipated memoirs for which they will reportedly be paid more than $60 million. And Mr. Obama has been paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for speeches in the United States and around the world. The Obamas are rarely seen in public in Washington, where they still live. Mr. Obama has long expressed concerns about how the flow of information and misinformation has the power to shape public opinion. In the last several months, Mr. Obama has discussed with technology executives and wealthy investors the threats to American democracy from the manipulation of the news. He has seethed privately and publicly about what he says is the manipulation of news by conservative outlets and the fractured delivery of information in the internet age. In several recent public appearances during the last several months, the former president hinted at his frustrations with the way conservative news outlets have shaped people's perceptions about the divisive 2016 campaign and the issues he cares about. If you watch Fox News, you're living on a different planet than you are if you're listening to NPR. Mr. Obama told David Letterman in an interview broadcast in January for the comedian's first Netflix program last December at a forum in New Delhi. Mr. Obama conceded that if I watch Fox News, I wouldn't vote for me. I would watch it and say, who is that guy? Evidence began to emerge while Mr. Obama was president that Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube were being used to spread false information about candidates and issues. Social media's impact on society began even clearer last month when the special counsel Robert S. Mueller III indicted 13 Russians and 3 companies that had used social media companies to undermine democracy in the United States and push voters to reject Hillary Clinton. As the election came to a close, Mr. Obama told The New Yorker and the new media landscape had made it possible for large swaths of the country to ignore facts. Everything is true and nothing is true, he complained. He later personally scolded Facebook's chief executive for saying it was crazy to think the social network influenced the election. For Netflix, securing the Obama programming is a part of the company's broader search for original content, and the streaming service competes for viewers with HBO, Apple, Amazon, and the traditional broadcast networks. Netflix has said it could spend as much as $8 billion on content this year. It has been paying top dollar for original programming like its hit Stranger Things and the documentary Icarus, which won the Oscar this year for Best Documentary Feature. It would also be another coup for a company that began by distributing DVDs and is now doing deals with some of the most powerful names in entertainment. Several technology and media world's top executives have been close advertisers and donors to Mr. Obama over the years, including John Doerr and Reid Hoffman, the Silicon Valley venture capitalist, and Jeffrey Katzenberg, the entertainment executive. But Mr. Obama has particularly close ties to Ted Sarandos, Netflix's chief content officer. Mr. Sarandos is married to Nicole A. Avant, an activist who served as Mr. Obama's ambassador to the Bahamas, and Reed Hastings, the chief executive of Netflix, who was close to Mr. Obama while he was president and attended at state dinners. A spokesman for Netflix declined to comment about any discussion with the former president and his wife. Some of the biggest media companies on the internet, like BuzzFeed and Vice, have embraced politically themed programming, even as if they had recently seen the growth, flatline, and shifts in the digital advertising and distribution landscape. Political news startups like the website Axios and the podcast Pod Saves America, hosted by former Obama officials, have connected with audience that are eager for scoops, analysis, and opinion. The deal between Netflix and Mr. Obama would be a modern media twist on an approach that former politicians have tried in the past. Al Gore, the former vice president, created a new cable network after losing the presidency to George W. Bush in 2000. Mr. Gore and Joel Hyatt, a businessman and Democratic activist, purchased a small cable company in 2004, eventually renaming it Current TV and positioning it as independent voice in the political debate. The network expanded its presence on cable and satellite networks and changed formats several times during the next 8 years, at one point providing a home for Keith Olbermann, an outspoken liberal and former host at MSNBC. In 2013, Mr. Gore and Mr. Hyatt sold their company to the Al Jazeera media network, which shut down the current TV channel. Mr. Obama's approach is less of a direct challenge to the existing news establishment, but he's embracing the streaming service that have become a direct threat to the cable and network television infrastructure, especially among younger viewers. So, interesting news coming to Netflix in the not-too-distant future. That's exciting. And then going from Obama to his vice president, Biden aids prepping for a 2020 run.
Red meat, we crave sustenance.
Guys, we are not invading my aunt.
On the mic, though.
Yeah, the Hellfire had it on the mic.
This was like the first time that Foodies has come up to your neck of the woods, so
Right.
thanks for hosting us
Yeah,
tonight.
it was great to have you guys up here.
Thanks.
It's
We
also
had
kind of,
some good pizza. You had some good suggestions.
Shout out to you for making that drive like every 2 weeks, by the way.
Yeah,
Totally.
Like for real, we've decided that AP loves this podcast the most because he drives the farthest to get to it.
Yeah, totally.
it's not too bad in the morning.
No, I bet that'd probably be an easier drive.
I'm
early
not
in the
looking
morning.
forward to this one tonight. This one's gonna be a long
It's
one.
a dark.
'cause I gotta teach in the morning.
It'll actually only be about an hour
Okay.
of a drive because traffic's going to be so much less.
Right.
So,
All right.
it won't be that bad.
Well, yeah, we're happy to be here. Thanks for hosting.
So, man, AP, you're like, we're doing this thing. We're going to get together. We're going to watch the Oscars. And I was like, fuck. We also have another thing we have to do. And actually, it also drops today on Pi Day. We'll get to that.
I love that.
Our Age of Ultron review for the Road to Infinity War exclusively on Patreon. You got to give us $3. You give us $3 on the Patreon. You get the exclusive content like the Road to Infinity War. And we just reviewed Age of Ultron. So we just got that done earlier in the night at your place.
Like right before cameras rolled on the Oscars.
Yeah, it was the Oscar pre-show, the red carpet.
Yeah.
Which we originally planned to do like an actual Oscars pre-show episode, but
We did, but we were running.
Food
out
became
of time.
more important because
Yeah,
it was
we needed
delicious.
to eat, and we actually did something fun today. Nate did a blind taste testing of our pizza selection.
Because I think
Did we determine which slice, which pizza you like
Yeah,
better?
if-
Was it Illuminati's?
Yeah, so it kind of happened like this. You know, I was like, oh, I've never had an actual Chicago deep pizza like that, like
Deep dish.
ever. Not, well, I mean, I guess I've had Aranello's in Highland, but that's not like a Chicago-based pizza company, you know?
Right.
So
And we don't typically order deep dish because we usually get thin crust.
totally, also true. Shout out to Monocle's and House of Pizza for their thin crust pizzas.
I miss Monocle's.
Respectively, I love Monocle's so much.
I'm not like I can jam on Monocle's.
It's all about that sauce.
I like the sauce. It's nice. I mean, Nate has like a fucking ketchup bottle filled with it in his fridge.
No, it's
Monocle
actually a
sauce.
Monocle's bottle.
I know it is a Monocle's bottle. Believe me, I know. And your dad has like gallon jugs.
He
of
does.
It.
He goes to Monocle's and buys the quart, the big ass
Like, for
gallon
real.
jug for real. He really does in his fridge because we use it so much.
I just always feel like it's so dry. Like it's so always overcooked to me. Like there's never any
think it's the
sauce on
flour.
it, and it's just like cracker thin crust.
well,
you
it's
know?
because they used to back in the day of Monocle's Pizza. Have you ever had Monocle's? Probably not. You're not from Central Illinois area. I've not really spent a lot of time in that region. So Monocle's is like a regional thing. Personally, it's one of my favorite pizzas of all time. It's just kind of its own thing. But they have this red sauce.
You
It's-
even worked there, right?
Yeah, I did, and I have stories. It's technically like French dressing, but
Different.
thicker, a little creamier, I guess. And they call it sweet and tart. And you actually put it on your pizza
It's really
dip it.
good.
or dip it.
really
It's
good.
it's weird because you wouldn't expect something like that to go on pizza, and then you eat it, and you're like, oh my god, this is heaven. Can I
It's
have
really
like?
good.
But it's only good on thin pizza. You
Correct.
You couldn't put it on a thick crust.
I have, but it's different because the breadiness
Absorbs
of
it?
the crust makes it different. And then you're just tasting like heavy, like Monocle sauce in a weird way. But yeah, I also worked there. That is very true. It was the first job I ever got fired from,
Oh damn!
and it was
And you're still shouting them out as the best.
and crazy story. It had nothing to do with me. My manager was fucking around one night, and because he wasn't taking his job seriously, we ended up being there till 2 a.m. They said it was my fault because I wasn't doing the dishes, which is entirely not true. So the head manager was just like, "Oh well, you're the new guy. I'd only been there for like 2 months at that point." So they just cut me. It was like whatever. And I was like fucking 15 or something. I don't give a shit. Right. You know, I'm not a pizza guy. But, man, you learn so much there. I loved eating, like, the freshly cooked bread. Because they used to do it at Monocle's. They would roll the dough out the day before on everything. So you'd have an entire roll of all your breadsticks from one day before that would sit a whole 24 hours before use. That would let the dough really breathe.
Was it all pre-made shit, or was it all homemade?
No, homemade. You put your mix in. You'd have a dough team that would run the dough in the morning. They would come in. They had the recipes down and everything. You knew how many pans to run and whatnot.
A big kitchen.
It's a big back room, yeah, and it's really neat back there. But so the stuff would sit for 24 hours before it would be used, so it was like perfect when it was cooked. Now they use it as soon as they make it, like day of, they're using it. And that's what they call a white top. Used to only get a white top if Monocle's ran out of pizzas. Like, they'd have to make dough that night, like, in the middle of every fucking thing.
Mm-hmm. So they didn't have enough time to, like, rise or whatever.
And then now whoever they have it that's running it doesn't give that much of a fuck, so they always have white tops because they're too lazy to set up a dough team for the day before. So
sad.
It totally changed it. But today we did this cool taste test.
Right. We had I went and picked up Giordano's and Illuminati's, which is two pretty big Chicago staples of pizzas. And usually if you're from the area, you're either for one or for the other, or for one of the other ones that are out there.
You can't be both.
Right. So people pick sides. They're pretty adamant about that. It's like sports teams.
Yeah, you're either into Illuminati's, you're either into Geno's East, or you're either into Giordano's.
Yeah, and I've still not tried Geno's East.
I've had Geno's East. It's good.
It's different. I think because it's like corn crust or cornmeal crust or something.
Yeah, their crust is good. I like the crust. But like I said, I'm not a deep dish person. I like thin crust. So
you guys A-B'd the plates, and I didn't have any clue what was going on.
I put an A on Illuminati's, and I put a little B on Giordano's, and then I gave you a plate with an A and a B, and then you had to blind taste test it.
Right, and you actually guessed what they were wrong when you decided which one you liked more.
Correct.
So what was your decision?
Well, I thought it was Giordano's, but it was actually Lou Malnati's. It was
That was your favorite.
Pizza A, yes. I absolutely loved the tomatoiness of the sauce. Like, they used real crushed tomato.
Yeah.
I fucking love that. Like, the cheese was really nice. Like, all the flavors were good. Does Lou Malnati's have that buttery crust you was talking about? Yeah, that's the shit right there. Like, I was all about that life. So yeah, I was really grateful that was a thing we could do, because experiencing like that for the first time. Now I know I'm a Lou Malnati's guy.
There you go.
We'll have to go back. Let's move into. Oh yeah, you made a drink for today, dude.
I did. I was trying to think about this for a few days, trying to figure out what ingredients I had and what I needed to pick up. And I was like, like a blue drink for the Shape of Water would be kind of interesting. And I actually circled back, but we'll get to that later.
The drink of water.
The drink of water.
That's what it was.
It was a blue curacao, raspberry vodka, some Sprite, some lime juice, and a little bit of rum.
Rum.
I put the rum
7-Up.
Oh yeah.
It was sort of a little alcoholic, but it was delicious. And threw a couple blueberries in there for good measure. And then you doctored up a little bit your way, adding some more lime.
I wanted to kind of play on the recipe a little bit, and you said you were like, I was trying to get that color of the water, and I was like,
For
okay,
the Shape of Water.
Okay,
This is an Oscar party.
All right, I'll play with some watercolors. So I did it kind of in the more of the image of like what I saw it as, and I thought it was all right. I think that yours was better by like a different reason, because it was a little more alcoholic. And the flavors were kind of crisper. I don't know. What do you guys think of the mixed drinks?
I think they were both good.
The drink of water.
Drink of water.
Yeah.
I thought they were good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not a big drinker, but when I do, I like to drink free shit, and then I liked that.
Yeah, I wanted to get it to be layers like blue and green because of Shape of Water. There was a lot of blue and green.
It would have been kind of nice to have a little drop of like grenadine. You could have made him like shark bites.
Oh, his bloody fingers.
Yeah.
I had
like grenadine would have cut through that and been,
I had
like,
grenadine in my cart and I put it back. I should have got it.
Damn. Always go for the grenadine when you get the blue shit.
When in doubt, grenadine it out.
Yeah.
I guess that's a thing. That's
So
not really a
lime
thing.
juice grenadine. I'm like, I'm just get lime juice. It's fine.
Totally going to divert for a second because I brought a bag of Szechuan sauce from McDonald's.
Yeah, so I discovered that on the table. I was like, why is there a bag full of like 20 Szechuan sauces from McDonald's?
It's only 10.
I thought they were packets.
What?
I thought they were packets.
We'll check it out.
Look.
Yeah,
What do you mean
interesting. I really
packets?
thought, like, wasn't the original draft batch of them packets?
No,
They
it's
were
the
always-
same. It was always that.
How much you spend on those sauces?
$3.21 for 12 packets.
You got
It
12
was
sessions.
crazy too
I
because
thought they were free.
No. I was gonna buy nuggets and then I forgot on the first day that it came out, so I went back the next day to McDonald's just to buy the sauce. And
Sweet.
Is
you
the sauce
would,
your jam?
you know, it's different. I like it. It's the Szechuan sauce, kind of teriyaki-y, a little soy-y, you know. I love the packaging of it, though. It's really vibrant. It's not the Rick and Morty packaging, because they had like the Rick and Morty package that had their faces actually on the sauce. That was the ultra limited run. They're rare as fuck. But you would have never guessed how hard it was to get 12 Szechuan sauces from a McDonald's. Because I rolled through the drive-thru and I was like, hey, can I just get, like, you guys got the Szechuan sauce? Lady on the thing's like, yeah, I got the Szechuan sauce. Do you want to order anything? And I was like, I'll just, you know what? Can I just, how much is a sauce? It's going to be like 25 cents. And I was like, 25, 4, 8, 12. Yeah, I'll just go with 12 sauces. We'll spend $3. She's like, $3.21, pull around. I sat for like 4.5 minutes. 3 different people came to the window like, what did you order? The Szechuan? You want this Coke? No, I didn't order a Coke. I want fucking Szechuan sauce. Give me the fucking, it's 12 sauces. You count to fucking 12. You put them in the bag. You hand them to me. It's not that hard. And it was hard.
We're gonna fuck the sodomites in the...
Like, I don't give a fuck about Cincy. I don't give a shit about, like, all the fucking... You good?
No, I'm good. I'm alright.
Please don't.
Down the wrong pipe. We're good.
Don't
die.
Yeah, that's my advice. Don't die.
Please. Please
But,
don't
like,
die.
I can't... I mean, cool, good. You're hopefully making money off that shit. But I don't give a fuck.
Yeah, I
Stop
got
trying to advertise your shit to me.
Yeah. Yeah, I haven't gotten anything from her in forever, so I think she just stopped sending it to me. But it's cool. I'm not gonna buy that. I don't wear that kind of jewelry.
Before I get really deep, what we got going on in the comments? I see a big string.
Nothing
Is
really.
that all Nate?
Yeah, it's Nate Phillips. He says, I don't know that gal, sorry.
Different guy. My bad, man.
Different guy. Different Nate.
Phillips.
Okay.
Pretty sure. Ooh, no, I'm thinking about Roberts.
So our prison system.
Our prison system.
The majority of major prisons in the U.S., so I'm saying larger than your local jails and whatnot, are privately owned. Much like most of our hospitals in the United States are privately owned. That's why health prices are so expensive. Because hospitals and health organizations lobby to the government so they don't impose regulations on them, so they can keep their prices really high and charge us, $350 for a 17-cent bag of saline. I think I talked about this on my inaugural episode of Podcastrophe.
Yeah, you did.
So
you went right into it.
Right
out the gates, I introduced you, and you're just like, I'm going to talk about the healthcare system.
I want to burn the healthcare system down. But
yeah, it sucks. It fucking sucks.
How
do you feel about Obamacare? I'm sorry to cut you off.
Globalized healthcare is not the answer. I'm sorry if that's the answer that everybody thinks is going to solve all of our problems as far as healthcare in the United States. That's not the answer. The answer is making it affordable, not free. Because we, as people, should work and earn the right to do what we need to do, not just have it given to us.
I agree with you.
When you have people who work 20 years for the military, my dad is a perfect example. They, in my mind, are entitled to health care. If you are a citizen of the United States, you are entitled to health care, but it is not free. It should be paid for. This is capitalism. We pay for everything. Nothing is free. Nothing in life is free.
To me, like, if you're a veteran or part of the armed services, you're more than a citizen. So,
and I don't disagree.
You've earned.
But anybody that wants globalized free healthcare, look at the VA, look at the history of the VA over the last 25 years. Just do the last 25 years.
It's been complete shit.
And look at the amount of people that have died on waiting lists, waiting for health care in that system. And that is what we as a society will have if that's the way that we go, because our government are overlords and we are property of the United States government. We are not citizens. That's a topic for another time. Prisons. So,
yeah.
The people, the families, and the organizations that own the majority of prisons in the United States are government subsidized. So, you're a warden or the family that owns a prison builds this huge facility to house these inmates, take these criminals off the streets. The United States government says, well, if you have this many inmates, I will give you this much dollars a month to take care of them. The more inmates you have, the more money you get. Well, any business in the world figures out how to do things cheaper and cheaper. So you give the inmates exactly what they need, 3 meals a day, a place to sleep, whatever, what have you. I've never been in a prison, so I can't. I personally don't give a shit about the treatment of inmates, and that's what I'm going to get into. That's the negative part of it. But so the government gives these prison systems all this money to take care of these inmates. And then the more inmates they have, the more money they get, and they keep packing them in and packing them in, and then they do expansions on the prisons, and they get bigger and bigger, and then they become these maximum security complexes where they are literally raking in millions of dollars a month. And those families are pocketing it.
Yeah.
And people that are in prison for smoking a plant, which is not an issue anyway, are in there making this family money just because they smoked a plant. And that's fucking bullshit.
That's bullshit.
When you have people who murder other people...
Are you ready for that zombie dust now?
Dude, I'm
now,
so ready.
Can you handle it this time?
No, yes, I'm pretty sure I can handle it.
So the way that I look at it, if I come into your house and I steal shit from you, number one, I believe you have the right to shoot me in the fucking face. If I am posing a threat to you, whether that's taking your personal property, shit that you have worked and earned for, or I am in the position where I can do you or the people you care about harm, you have the right to shoot me in the face. And luckily we live in a state where we can do that. But, so people...
I bet a regular criminal that does that is not, like, totally on board with the whole shooting of the face thing.
Well, fuck you. Get shot in the face. But
I'm gonna come in here, but
you better not shoot me, pal.
You better not
Don't
shoot me. But if you do, there's gonna be heck.
So the way that I look at it, theft is obviously a crime.
Yes.
There's no reason that someone who is a thief should be in prison for their entire life.
Right.
That is stupid. Teach somebody how to be accountable for their actions, rehabilitate them, say, hey, you can't take shit from other people. You need to earn it for yourself. Show us that you've learned this. Get out of here.
Yes.
Now I'm getting into the harder ones, the ones that are actual criminals in my mind. If you murder someone else, whether it's premeditated, out of a fit of rage, whatever.
Eye for an eye. You take a life, you give a life.
Well,
right.
That's how I feel.
I agree, but that's not where I was going with for that one. So that's an actual criminal in my mind.
Yeah.
If you touch a little kid, if you rape a woman, if you rape a man, anything, it doesn't matter.
And to an extent, that's still you take a life
and
you
that's,
give a life.
I was going to continue that.
Because you rape someone or you take someone's innocence, that's their life.
Right.
You change someone. They're not the same person anymore.
Yeah, and it's not just something that they have to think about for the rest of their life. It actually alters their brain chemistry because it is mental and physical trauma, and it's something that they have to deal with their whole life. That is fucking terrible.
Mm-hmm.
So you go back 100 years in the late 1800s, we were still hanging people in the street.
I'm okay with that.
Okay? So we got into
the right circumstances. I'm okay with that.
At the turn of the century, we came into this, I want to say awakening. I think that's the way that I'm going to put it, where people who are criminals are still people. They still have rights. So if you commit a felony in the United States, you can't vote, you can't buy a gun. There's all this shit that you can't do, but you still get to continue to live.
Yeah.
So if I molest a child tomorrow and I get convicted of it, I'm going to get put away for, let's say, 7 to 10 years. It's the Dr. Phil that I talked about last week.
Yeah.
So I get to be put away for 7 to 10 years, and then I get to be put on a sex offenders registry list, and then I get to live the rest of my miserable life out. Whoever I harmed has to live the rest of their lives out just as miserable, if not more than me, and they never did anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So they are getting the same treatment as the criminal. But during that 7 to 10 years, we as taxpayers are paying for that person to get 3 fucking meals a day, and a lot of times now, it's inhumane to put a sex offender with the regular Gen Pop, because
they're going to get fucking...
Because there's the risk that they're going to get raped, they're going to get killed, they're going to get beat, the whole shebang. Because it's inhumane to treat another person like that, and that's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Those people, if you touch a fucking little kid, I'm going to look at the camera. If you fucking touch a little kid, you should be hung in the fucking street. So everybody else that sees, they're like, hey, maybe I shouldn't touch little kids. And then we're back to teaching accountability.
Yeah.
You're accountable for your actions. You make a mistake, you have to pay the price.
Mm-hmm.
Bam. Done. If you want change in America, you have to take power away from the politicians.
Yeah, for sure.
This nation was founded with the power of the people, not the power of the kings. And right now we live in the land of the power of the kings, and it's bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And the kings are giving money to people who are keeping criminals who are ruining people's lives and being let back out on the street. And I'm not fucking okay with that.
Yeah. I mean, just like a year or two ago, there was that one dude who he raped a chick, and then he got like 6 to 7 months or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Brock Turner?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Oh, the swimmer, right?
He only ended up doing 3 months.
Good luck.
Guys, Nintendo Direct was just a few days ago. Of course, as you're listening to this, it's been like a week. So Mike watched it. I watched it this morning as well, and actually watched most of it again with Mike. Not a lot of stuff here was like all that surprising.
It really goes back to the Nintendo style where they just put out random stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like random, weird, odd games. You know, that's cool and all, but there was mentions of some big titles.
Weird, you know, some people are actually complaining. It's like, oh, we're getting our ports. It's like, well, it's kind of coming in like a year late or a couple years late into this cycle. And I tell you what, guys, the reason why you guys are getting ports is because they want to see how much do people even care about our titles over here.
Right.
You know, this is them, you know, dipping their foot in the water. You know, South Park, Fracture But Whole. Okay, they don't have to bring that game over.
Right.
But this is Ubisoft going, see how it sells, and if it sells well, maybe we'll put the other one over here, and maybe we'll get a new IP over here, maybe a newer game we're putting over here, maybe we'll put it over here on the Switch. It's that because the Dark Souls thing is from software going, maybe. Let's see how it goes.
The good thing is it's not as difficult to transfer over.
I mean, yeah.
And that helps a lot because whenever you're not putting a whole lot of resources into it, if you do sell 500,000 copies or something, it's like, we still made our money.
It's
you know?
more profit.
Exactly.
More profit.
So I see where they're at on that standpoint.
In fact, I even saw where the people who ported Skyrim to the Switch, which I've been playing Skyrim on the Switch. It's fucking awesome.
Right.
You know, it's still Skyrim. It's still buggy. But if anybody who's a fan of Skyrim or Bethesda, you've pretty much resigned yourself to their games being buggy as shit.
I mean, you think about the vastness of each environment and to make that smooth and no bugs. Good luck.
I've had a few little small hiccups. where stuff didn't render in, right? But
stuff randomly falling out of the sky. You haven't had that yet?
I haven't had that yet.
Yeah, and on the original, it just randomly was sitting there and there, cow fall out of the sky. Like, huh, cool. All right, and you just keep going.
Weird weather today.
Weird weather today.
Yeah, no. So the guys that did that have said that they have approached Capcom, saying we want to port Monster Hunter World to the Switch.
That'd be interesting.
So I don't know if they're going to take them up on that.
I don't know how I feel about that,
but we'll see. We'll definitely see. I personally, I want to see that that little chibi-ized version of FF15 go over there.
Yeah.
I want to see that go over to the Switch because I think it might actually have a life there, either where you can play it with the tap screen or you could play it with some buttons, and where you get the whole story.
Yeah.
In fact, you know what? I had a nice long talk with our friend Matt Klaus, and he was talking about like how the PC version, they've been making a lot of changes. They've been adding cutscenes. They've been doing so many things to where you can get the whole story, and their DLC plans for FF15 are going well into 2019.
Wow.
Basically, I guess what it was is that when they're making 15, they said, we want to kind of make a thing where we release this game in like different chapters. It's like you get this part, and then you get this part, and then this part. But they wanted the game chapters to be big, like a full-size game. But unfortunately, when they were getting down to it, it just wasn't going to be that. So then they decided to go, all right, let's scale it back, bring it back in. And then when they released the game, they always intended to try expand it and do more stuff. But when they realized that the sales were kind of slacking off, and the criticisms that people had about the story, and how it doesn't flow, and there's more, you have to go watch a movie.
It's fragmented.
Yes. So their goal was, you know what, scrap the other stuff that we wanted to expand, and let's focus on on basically finishing this and making this, by the time we're done, a more cohesive thing.
Right.
So that is awesome that they listened. But I want that chibi-ized version for the Switch. What other ports did they say? Okay, so we're getting...
Are we going to wait for the big one?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Because I got stuff to say about that.
There's some ports for the 3DS.
Yeah, well, we're getting a remake of Luigi's Mansion. So you can have both Luigi's Mansions on like the 3DS. That's kind of cool.
That's neat.
I mean, Luigi's Mansion is awesome. So
Okami
HD is coming to the Switch. Of course, that came out originally on the PS2, and then it got a Wii release, and then eventually it did come back to PS3, PS4. So I mean, it's cool. I really like the art style in that game.
Yeah.
I mean, it's nothing to like say, oh my god, that game's coming to the Switch. But if you never played it before, good chance to pick it up. We are getting Captain Toad, Treasure Tracker, another Wii U title. I swear they're going to bring every single Nintendo Wii U game over.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, the Wii U just did not do hardly anything.
No. What I'm thinking is that they're waiting on Mario Maker because they have a 3DS version out.
Mm-hmm.
And if that ever gets to a point where they're going to like start scaling back to 3DS, that's where we get Mario Maker.
Yeah.
For the Switch, I guarantee you, because there's no reason not to with the touchscreen and everything.
Right.
Man, I'm trying to think of what else.
And you could still use the Joy-Cons.
Yes.
So it'd be neat.
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. I loved Mario Maker. That was like a highlight of the Wii U for me.
Right.
But like was Mario Maker.
We gotta. I mean, we're still on remakes. Because there's a couple other ones, but they're just very. I don't think there is actually. I think we've about covered them all.
I mean, well, cause so they're doing like a new Mario Tennis, and they go in. They said before they're going to focus a lot on Mario Tennis, and I've never been a huge Mario Tennis dude, but like I was sort of impressed with all the different. It's not just a tennis game; it's like a tennis game with all these different over the top things,
right?
To make it fun. It really seems like the game would be fun as shit to play. Not for $60.
Yeah, not for 60.
But I mean, hell yeah! If someone's like, "Hey, man, I got this game on the marketplace for $20," maybe because like even in GTA 5, I played a lot of tennis in that game because it's just something to do,
right?
And then I'm one of those guys that like if I am entertained by something, I will sit there and do it for hours.
Right.
So next thing, here I am. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go in there, and I did this on Red Dead 2 with the poker. I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna do these missions. I'm gonna advance the story. And then I just played poker for hours, and then I just played tennis for hours. So we got animals trying to get into other people's rooms.
Yep, that's normal.
Anyhow, oh man, so we have they're doing like an arms tournament. So there's that thing.
They announced the Splatoon.
Yeah, Splatoon thing. Octopath Traveler
has a date.
It has a release date of we got a lot of release dates.
We did.
Hyrule Warriors is in May. Of course, they also they have some add-on stuff for Kirby that's coming out. Should be out this week as you guys are hearing this. It might be out tomorrow if you guys listen to this day one. Yeah, we got some release dates. Octopath Traveler, they showed some more jobs, showed some more stuff that you can do in that game.
They showed some more characters.
Yes, exactly.
And then they also showed the dual job.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to do a dual job system, which...
Cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's...
And, of course, the big one, of course, they had the big Splatoon DLC, and that bled into...
Which is story.
Yes, it
is story.
Story DLC, which is different. Smash Brothers.
The one we've been predicting.
Now, here's the thing. I just read something the other day. There's conjecture that this is a brand new Smash Brothers game. It's not a port.
You think so? That's soon? That's very surprising.
It is soon. But here's the thing. I have no doubt that it has been in development since the other one was released.
Right.
They went right to work on another one. There was no more support and more DLC for the other one. That's all done for the Wii U, because Wii U is dead. And then you have the 3DS version. That one's still alive and going. I don't know how well the community is.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Now, there is conjecture that this is going to be a brand new Smash game, a new entry entirely, not just a port of the old one. So,
we shall see.
Yeah, I can definitely see it because it's been quite a few years since the last one. It doesn't seem like it, but it has.
It's been about 3, right?
3. It'll be 3, and by the time that comes out, see, that Smash Brothers came out in 2015.
Yes.
What was that? 14.
I think you're right.
I'll look it up real quick. That sounded juicy.
It was. Oh, I hate allergy season. It's murder, literally.
It's all getting into your system. No, yeah, they came out 14. So by the time this releases, because they said the new Smash Brothers said 2018, so it would have been 4 years.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So it's, it doesn't seem like it because of how long they supported it,
right?
Like with DLCs and new characters, and they kept it going.
Then they threw it on the 3DS, and
well, it actually simultaneously released.
Yeah, that's right.
So
that's new.
That was awesome that they did that.
It's cool.
Because you could. I want to say you could even connect the two games together and do all that kind of stuff. That was really cool.
It was neat.
But no, we said that they needed a big game for this year for the fall.
There it is.
That's it. Because they already played the Zelda card. They already played the Mario card. They're playing the Metroid card, but it's a little bit different because it's being developed by somebody else.
Right.
And Metroid, as much as I like Metroid, it's not Zelda. It's not Mario. It's not going to move those numbers unless you get another a big hit like you did with the original Prime, where it was it came out and people were like, oh, another Metroid. And they're like, oh, wait, this is different. And it set it off on a whole new thing.
It did.
So
I'm really anxious to see how they do it.
Same.
Because it's always had a lock-on system with Prime. I wonder if they're going to go more open.
Well, because of how much and how farther FPSs have gone and developed.
It might be able to pull that in this time.
Right. So, we'll definitely see. But because we don't know for sure if Metroid's releasing this year. There have been rumors, but since
they threw a date.
I don't.
Not a date, but a year.
I don't remember.
I thought it was late 2018.
It's quite possible.
Let's find out.
But Nintendo, I guarantee you Smash Brothers is going to come out this year. and that we'll see more at E3.
I don't know the name of who posted this, but I do know the review is about this liquid silicone dildo, huge black, 12-inch thick, realistic suction cup waterproof dildo.
That is the title.
It sounds like a Wish listing.
Gag gift. Everything was a gag gift.
I mean, it is really big. So,
this thing almost killed my grandma.
Oh God, I remember now.
Yes. Okay, first off, this thing is huge. I didn't realize it when ordering, but when everyone left the house one day, I decided to give it the old college try. The suction cup works well. I had it stuck to my bedroom door. Okay, so when trying to use this, it was really big and awkward. I was trying to back against it slowly, letting my butthole adjust to the massive width. I had my iPod listening to Eye of the Tiger trying to get pumped for this whole thing. Well, I didn't hear my grandmother come home early, and apparently I was making some noise rocking back and forth on this mega dong mounted to the door and singing along to the theme song to Rocky. Oh, Pat...
Okay, so we took a little break because our food arrived. I don't know if you heard the doorbell, but maybe you did. So we are now stuffed to the fucking gills of Chinese food, including those amazing little donuts that are probably not like Chinese. They're just a thing that they do, but they're so good.
Yeah.
So good.
And we're talking about how stuffed we are, and we both keep eyeing them.
I'm closing it, like, officially. We have to stop eating.
or this podcast will just
never get done.
No, we're just going to roll over in our chairs.
I'm going to Violet Beauregard out to my car to go home. While the Oompa Loompas sing a song about gluttony or something. Do you want to continue your giant black dildo review?
Yes. I believe we left off. He was singing he or she? I don't know.
They?
Whoever they are, yeah. They are singing the theme song to Rocky.
Okay.
I just realized I had this whole picture.
I don't remember if they declare a gender
They
in there.
don't.
No.
They
Okay.
don't.
Well,
I'm imagining both. I'm imagining everything right now.
Which one would be more shocking?
With a grandma. Okay. Well, my grandma comes to investigate and jerks the door open, which snatched the toy out of my butt, bringing my sphincter with it. My grandmother freaks and slams the door, which power drives this thing up my anus all the way to the base.
Ow.
I'm screaming in pain, and my grandmother is yelling, holding her chest. Next thing I know, she collapses. So there I am with a bleeding, prolapsed butthole, and my grandma is on the floor. I'm in so much pain, and I'm freaking out, worrying that I've killed her. So I crawled over to her and pushed her life alert button to send the paramedics. One of which was a new guy, and when I tried explaining the story, he literally pissed on himself laughing. Anyway, they popped an ammonia capsule, which brought my grandmother back. She seems okay, but we haven't made eye contact in 2 weeks, and my butt is a little worse for wear.
That's like, why wouldn't you lock the door?
Right? Maybe it didn't have a lock. I didn't have a lock.
I wouldn't put it on. You'd have a closet. Put it on that door. Nobody can jerk that motherfucker open.
Like, fuck.
And then at least you can, like, sort of cover yourself if somebody walks in.
Right. Or the
Smart
shower.
about your self-time. Right, nobody's gonna walk in if they hear the shower.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're singing, like, you could just be singing Eye of the fucking Tiger.
And no one's going to question it.
Right?
And no one's going
Like, why do you have headphones on in the shower? But
prolapsed.
Maybe you turn it on your boombox then instead of, like, I don't know. I'm one of those people that listens to songs on repeat. Maybe you like to listen to Eye of the Tiger on repeat. I don't know your life.
This was just bad decisions.
Yes, just
in the making.
bad decisions all around.
I wonder if there was ever a star rating.
Clearly someone doesn't know that you're supposed to pre-stretch.
Okay, we don't get to know what their star review was. Like, and it says that it's 12 inches. It looks huge.
I'm thinking they mean 12 inches insertable, which means it's actually bigger than that.
But it looks
It's
huge.
massive. It's like half a baby.
I didn't realize it when ordering. And I'm looking at the picture thinking, you should have realized what you were doing.
They have a hand on it for size, like,
and wow.
reference. So we have some much shorter reviews, thank goodness. Apparently you can buy uranium ore on Amazon. And one of the reviews says, essential for both terrorists and mad scientists. Are you really gonna eat another donut?
Was I not sneaky about it?
I guess not. There's so much sugar.
It's okay, I have a tablecloth. It's fine.
Now you have to eat all of them.
Because I dropped them all?
Yeah, not really, because I'll still eat them. But for Tuscan whole milk, more than 1,000 reviews will convince you how special Tuscan whole milk, 1 gallon, 128 fluid ounce is. When they sound like a robot wrote them. Mm-hmm. Speaking of, have you seen the... Oh shit, what was it? It was something written by a bot and not Harry Potter. I can't remember. Was it 50 Shades of Grey? Hang on. Talk about something else for a moment so I can Google.
I will read these gummy bear reviews.
Oh no, it was Saw.
Oh god. Okay. I'll let you go.
No, you go for it.
Okay, what am I... These Haribo Original gummy bears.
Oh god,
the sugar-free version. Specifically.
So I have known about these for a while, but I just introduced Joanna to them. Not that either of us need any help with what these seem to be good at.
No.
But the reviews are hilarious. So, carry on.
According to Amazon, customers who bought this item also bought a 90-pack of Charmin Extra Soft toilet paper tissue.
That's ominous.
I just, I don't... Have you ever bought laxatives on Amazon? I wonder if they recommend toilet paper with it, because if so, perfect marketing strategy.
Let's find out. Alright. Lax. And no, I've never bought a laxative because I've never needed one.
I had to get a few, for that colonoscopy, but I didn't have time for Amazon. That 2 days shipping just wasn't fast enough.
They recommend Cottonelle wet wipes and Viva paper towels.
Baby wipes are the best.
When you got a sensitive butthole, baby wipes. Just don't flush them because they're not flushable. They will clog your shit up if you have a septic system. Don't do it.
Oh, God.
Anyway.
I ate a nickel when I was 2, but I found it shortly after eating this bag.
Oh, no. If you haven't figured it out yet, they're sugar-free, which means that they're made with, like, a sweetener that's not sugar. And often that means sugar alcohols, which if you've ever done a keto diet, will make you shit your pants if you eat too much. And so if you go into this 5-pound bag thinking you're going to eat half of it, you're going to spend a good 4 hours on the toilet.
Seriously, this would be way better than, like, the colonoscopy prep that you have to make.
Right?
I mean, I would switch it for gummy bears anytime.
Who needs an entire container of Miralax?
With Gatorade. Yeah.
I mean, I do like Gatorade. Now
Not
that we have
after-
found the Gatorade Flow.
Yeah.
Because that shit is so good. It tastes like you're eating liquid Jell-O.
I do love that.
Ugh.
I'm so glad I can drink Gatorade again.
It's time for Brews with Dudes. Juicy.
ISIS is all about licking dick.
In the armpit. That got in my armpit. Ah!
You look
that inner arm.
Man, I'm about to get over there and lick you the way she's after it.
She might be onto something.
Well, Dave, you're right there. Get at it.
Dave, when was
It's
your
not
first
cool
zombie
to
dust?
jump in on a bro's action.
When was my first zombie
Yeah,
dust?
let's talk about your first zombie dust.
It wasn't. I believe it was at DT Kirby's. That's the first time I had it.
As I was drinking, ISIS powerfully licked the back of my arm and thrust my arm forward.
You go, Dongo.
Dongo, you drink that beer.
Yeah, basically.
He is loving on you.
The first time I had zombie dust was at DT Kirby's. I remember that, sorta.
One of those nights.
Yep. It's at a time where I just drank, my Miller High Life. It's all I stuck to. And they're like, we have this thing called zombie dust. I'm like, I like zombies. I'll take it. Did not like it. Now, I kind of like it. That's my story.
I don't remember my first experience, but I do have a fun experience, and I don't actually know if I brought it up, but I had gotten a case. Like, I picked up a whole case of it from the brewery, brought it back to Lafayette, and we're casually drinking through it. It's a lot of beer. And eventually I get to a bottle that's like the neck isn't filled.
I think I'm having deja vu.
And it was that way for about 2 of them. And I sent them a picture like, hey, these aren't filled up all the way.
And then they sent you
me
a free
a
case.
whole new case. They sent me a whole new case. I'm like, just for the fucking 2?
That's awesome.
It was beautiful.
Should I tell a story I've told on here before now?
Try to tell one that you think is new, but if it's old, it doesn't matter.
Deja vu.
Good.
I gotta know what this is from. Why do you keep doing this? Are you just doing it?
Just doing it.
Every time someone tells a story that they've already told, you scream.
Stop it! Stop licking me.
We're trying new things on Brews with Dudes.
But no, my first experience with zombie dust, and to go back to the whole when bars would have it on tap and everybody rushed down, I'd already been doing something like Brews with Dudes with a couple of buddies of mine. We'd go to a liquor store. We'd all get a 4-pack or a 6-pack of something none of us had ever had, and we'd just go back to my buddies, sit in his garage, and just drink beer until the odd hours of the morning because we worked a second shift. And we'd been doing it for quite some time. And my one buddy, who is from up north in Wisconsin, Green Bay, who was getting me and my other buddy really into beer, was actually telling me about like Three Floyds and Zombie Dust, and that's one in particular. He's like, "Oh, guys, you got to try this." And it was one of those times where the bar's like, "Hey,
we got
it," and he actually knew somebody working there that gave him the heads up before they tapped it, so we're actually able to get down there and get the fresh tapped keg beers.
On tap, it's even better.
Oh yes.
Mm-hmm. So it wasn't like the very first one. They were polite enough to like run a pint or two through the lines real quick to make sure you have that ultimate freshness.
That sounds great.
It was very, very decent.
I believe this is going to be episode 21.
Yes.
Ooh.
21.
This episode can drink now.
So I bet we're almost to 100 beers.
Oh man.
I bet we're pretty damn close to it.
I know Austin and I, we're continuing the streak. We've been on the last 3 or 4 episodes together.
We're streaking.
I I think. Oh, on that note, it's time to clean out these glasses and jump on to the next one.
It is in fact Snowpocalypse 2018.
It is in
March,
and it is snowing.
Mid-March, it's snowing.
Yep.
It's basically a whiteout out there right now.
Tomorrow it'll be 85.
Yes.
So,
welcome to Indiana. So Dave, you blew me off of my yeah.
I did not blow you.
You blew me off last week.
I walked away for literally 4 seconds.
You blew me off last week. You're like, hey, I'll be your guest on your show, and then you weren't.
I'm a dick.
So I had a different David on.
Oh, a different one?
I would just like to interject.
Me?
I would like to interject. This is not a gossip show, okay? I'm not going to allow you guys to Jerry Springer one. Just sit back here and talk shit. We're not doing it.
Oh, I'm talking all the shit now.
We're not doing it.
That's it. My pants are coming off.
It would be
pants are coming off
or something. Because I'm the one that has to sit here and mediate it. No, don't take his shit, Dave.
What? I'm about to take my pants off and fight him.
Well, I'm not for that either.
I don't want that. I don't want that happening.
I'm sorry I blew you off.
It's okay.
There we go.
You had a friend. I get it. You had
just one friend though.
You had.
I killed him.
What? Guys, let's drink more. We're moving on to this beer I grabbed at the Bedrock Liquors today. 18th Street Brewery's Velvet Cashmere. It's supposed to be a pale ale. We'll see. I like a good pale ale.
Sounds super fancy. Sounds debonair.
All right, let's give this bad boy a pour, shall we?
You're such a fuck today, Austin. As opposed to any other day, I don't know.
I was going to say, just today?
Just today, I'm a piece of shit?
It's not every day I get to say, Austin, you're a fuck.
Thank you.
I say every day I wake up.
Just to yourself?
Just to myself.
Austin, you're a fuck.
That's why I love you guys.
I think I say it every single time I see you. At least once.
I agree.
I think I do. Sorry.
My bad.
Yeah, damn, dude.
And you wonder why I get such hostile.
I know, I'm sorry. Much hostile. Wow.
Fucking hostile.
I have random hostilities at Nick, and he's like, dude, where'd that come from? We're starting to figure it out.
Because of shit like that.
That looks good.
You know what else looks good?
What's up?
The show that's going on at Jerry Lee's Pub Saturday, March 17th.
What?
A St. Patty's Day Doom Room Bonanza featuring a Dogfish Head tap takeover. Holy shit. That also looks good.
What a well-placed commercial there.
Oh, yeah. And with that commercial, I'd like to throw in a public service announcement.
Whoa.
Tell us.
Can you wait your turn? I'm in the middle of my PSA.
Plug it!
I'm in the
Plug
middle
away!
I'm in the middle of plugging this thing.
I think
plugging service
I'm having
announcement.
deja vu. Did somebody just interrupt Nick in the middle of something again?
Oh, man. Classic Brews with Dudes.
I think that's Austin's catchphrase.
All right, let's take a drink of this beer
Yeah.
before I finish what I was saying, before Dongo interrupts me again. That is
Oh,
interesting.
my Lord.
That is interesting.
That is different.
Going in, it tastes like
La, la, la,
your
la.
average pale ale.
I am Lord. La, 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 la.
Midway through, it gets interesting, and then on the back end, it's like, oh, that's a regular beer.
What would you...
It
That's how I
tastes
got
like it wraps your tongue in velvet.
Yeah, there's that halfway through. It's got
It
this
just
very interesting
rolls right around your tongue and it just holds there while the rest of it
Do you
just
get what I
passes
mean by
through.
the back end is like a regular beer, though?
Yeah.
I
agree to that.
I was like, oh, that's familiar. That's new. Oh, that's also familiar.
This tongue wrapping sensation is really bugging me. Like, I get what you're saying, but
Roller coaster.
In
The middle.
In
Yeah.
the middle, there's not citrusy. Maybe
It's kinda like
sour, saison-y in the very middle.
I'm understanding the velvet because it's so smooth and just
I like this.
like makes you want to just keep
It's
drinking
confusing
it.
me that I just keep drinking it. I'm like,
This is so
What the
good.
hell's
What is
going
that?
on?
What is that flavor?
I don't know what this is, but I'm gonna keep doing it.
I like it.
I'm gonna keep
So I
doing it.
can't anymore.
I'm about it.
Yeah.
So this
I'm
episode,
getting it in my mustache. I can't help it.
it's gonna air this Saturday,
Yes.
the night of this show. So if you're listening, then you're probably already coming. I wonder
And if you're
what the ratio
not-
will end up being. The people that are listening to this podcast right now, and then decide because of the podcast to go to the show when they weren't going to go before.
I mean, it's more than likely going to drop
tonight
Might
as
be
you're
nobody.
listening to it.
It might
tonight.
It's more than likely going to drop at midnight or 6 a.m. somewhere around there.
in that time period, depending on
One of those
where-
two.
what dimension the Podfather's in.
Yeah, right.
He does-
And then, so there's a good chance if you're like
You'll have a full
up
12
at those
hours
times,
to make your decision.
You're gonna be like, whoa.
Maybe if I also post about it, because I've been bad about posting like when they release on Saturday.
Yeah.
Sometimes I do it on Sunday. I don't think I've even said anything about
Oh,
the one
fuck,
that
it's
released days
Tuesday.
ago. And I haven't. Yeah, after this, I'm gonna have to post and be like, sorry. Damn it, I'm slacking. It was a busy weekend though. We had a
Yeah.
lot of fun this past
Yeah.
weekend. We all did different, respectably awesome things.